At the moment, your microphones will be mute and also your camera. If you want to ask any question, you can do it either on the chat or in the Q&A section. Today is the third day of IEC Discovery Week, and we're going to speak about studying in England. We're going to have different universities talking. Today we're going to have Lancaster University, Exeter University, Warwick University, Bath, York, and University of the Arts London. And I'm going to speak really quick about IEC. We are a company that is leading the counseling education sector in Spain. We have been working for 26 years, advising the students that would like to study abroad. And we send around 300 students every year to different countries. United Kingdom, United States, Canada, Denmark, Netherlands, Switzerland, Australia, and New Zealand. And here you have our telephone and also our email in case you want to get in contact with us. Thank you very much for joining us, and we're going to get started. Now, Tom, if you want to start.
Okay, brilliant. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to give you a very quick introduction to Lancaster University, hopefully paint a picture of what it's like to be a student there. I was a student there myself, so if you do have any questions at the end, please do contact me. I'll put up my contact details at the end of the presentation, or of course, I'll be around to answer any more questions in detail at the end of these presentations. So first of all, what does Lancaster University look like? This is our campus. You may be familiar that in the UK, universities are generally divided between either city-based universities, where the facilities are amongst the city, or a campus-based university, where it's a separate entity. Lancaster is a campus-based university, so the best way to describe it would be that it's like a student town. You have everything that you need as a student all in one place. So this will be your accommodation, also your lecture facilities, your study facilities, such as the library, the learning zone, any practical facilities that you might need for your course as well. And then also your leisure facilities as well. So we've got cafes, 9 college bars on campus, restaurants, shops, pharmacies, banks, and the sports centre as well. So from my perspective as being a student, this was a great advantage of making it easy to settle in as a first year, particularly if you're nervous moving to a new place. Made it very easy to make friends because everything is all in one place and you don't have to worry about getting lost, which is very handy. Okay, a couple of quick facts about Lancaster. We are proud that we do often perform highly in the student satisfaction rankings. This is the review of students of how they felt about their experience at Lancaster, and they often state that they enjoy about our university experience, our facilities. So we have a joke on campus. When asked what the worst thing about studying at Lancaster, most people will say that there's a building site whatever time you're on the campus, which is kind of annoying, but that's because the university is constantly building new facilities for the students to enhance the student experience. So it is a good thing in the end. We have a great student experience, which is enhanced by that campus lifestyle that you get. And we're also very proud that we have a comprehensive student support system. So if you do have any difficulties or if you do think you require any additional support, we're there to help provide that and make sure that you have everything required to give you the best chance of being a successful student and graduating with a good degree. Here's some examples of some of the support systems that we have on our campus. All of these are free and available for you to use from day one that you arrive. For all university experiences, as well as your degree, you're going to have access to a wide range of services, including well-being support and employment services. My top tip as a student would be to make the most of all of these services because it's part of the overall experience. So you might as well get the most of them while you're there. Our services are enhanced by the fact that we're a collegiate system. So if you're not sure what that means, we are one of the few universities where it's divided into different colleges. So you'll apply to join one of 8 different undergraduate colleges or the postgraduate college. This will be your community while you're studying with us. It'll determine where you live on campus, and it's mixed in different subjects. So you'll have a range of different students to meet within your college. For me, this was a really big positive because it meant that I was part of a small student community, which made it easy to make friends, easy to get to know the people and the staff in your college, which for me was good instead of just being a member of the big university overall. And then you stay a member of that college for the rest of your life, even after you graduate. Yeah, I'm just going to finish off by quickly showing you some photos of campus so you can get a better impression of what it's like. This is Alexandra Square, the main square in the center of campus. Here you've got your main facilities, employment services, support services, your library, and your learning areas. Anyone looking at studying management sciences or any subjects under the management school, this is where you'll be based. You can see it's quite a green campus. There's a lot of open space. Any engineering students, this is our new engineering faculty building. Anyone looking at math or stats, this is where you'll be based. And you can see in the reflection some of the student accommodation. Okay, and finally, any art students, this is where you'll be based in our Institute for Contemporary Arts. And regardless of what subject you're studying, if you're into sport, here will be our sports centre. You can see from these photos, quite representative of the campus. It's very green. It's quite a relaxing place. So if that's the kind of environment you'd like to spend 3 years, then Lancaster might be a good place for you. And finally, here are a couple of photos of the surrounding area. Some trips to the Lake District, which is a national park about 1 hour away from the campus. Really good for weekend trips. And this is Lancaster City itself. So there is a city next to the campus, about 15 minutes bus ride away. It's a small historical city, but has a range of cultural events and festivals that happen throughout the year. So lots to keep you entertained as a student. Okay, that was super fast. Hopefully it gave you a very brief impression of what Lancaster's like. Please do jot down my contact details and get in touch if you'd like. Otherwise, looking forward to answering your questions at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Tom. I think I'm going to pick up and just take 5 minutes to do the same for Exeter. So if you bear with me, I'm just going to share my screen and make sure I'm sharing the right one. So 2 seconds. Hopefully you can all see my screen now. Great. Well, yeah, thank you everyone for joining. It's nice to be able to speak with you today from the UK. So my name is Taylor and I'm the international officer here in Exeter. So I'm going to give in this short amount of time we have just a brief overview of Exeter, and don't hesitate to think of any questions that you might have for later on in the session. And whenever you see a QR code, that's just that's the ability to stay in touch with us. So if you want to keep in touch or to find out more about your particular course of interest, please do scan that and check it out there. Right, here we go. Cool. Location wise, obviously you know that we'll be in the UK, but more specifically in the UK, we're in the southwest of England. So the University of Exeter actually has two sort of locations with 3 campuses at those locations. And on this map on the right, you can see Exeter here in the middle, and our Penryn campus on the left, as almost as far southwest as you can go in the UK. And the reason we've got London there is just to show you where we are in relation to London. So it's a question everyone wants to know first. So we're just on average 2.5 hours on the train from London, for those of you who are interested to know. What I haven't done in this presentation is got examples of all of our campuses. But the next slide, we're just going to have a look at one of our campuses, which is our largest campus, and it's called the Streatham campus. And it's in Exeter itself. So it's about a 20-minute walk away from the city centre of Exeter. Don't worry if you can't hear the video. It's just a short 30-second video to show you what the campus is like. Okay, so what that video has done is just give you a visual really of what the campuses are like. So those two campuses, in fact, that are included in that video are the St. Luke's campus, which you can see sort of there. You can see a bit of it there, maybe not the nicest part of it, and also the Streatham campus, which I talked about at the beginning. So across those two campuses, we have about 25,000 students studying there. And in the middle of those two campuses is the city centre of Exeter. So everything's kind of in one place. You'll be on your campus a lot for all of your study and probably your accommodation in the first year. And in the middle of that is the city centre. So Exeter as a city as well, just to highlight, it's not a huge city in comparison to many UK cities. We've got a population of about 130,000 people, but about 30,000 of those are either students or staff in Exeter. So it's very much a university city feel. And who are we? You know, there's a few key stats here. So just to give you an overview, really, I'm going to move this panel out of the way, so I think that's in the way. There we go. So these are, a few of the key points you might want to be aware of as a student considering coming to the UK, considering coming to Exeter specifically. So we've got nearly 28,000 students from over 150 different countries. We've recently been ranked in two of the world's sort of top 150 rankings, both in the Times Higher Education and the QS World University Rankings. And yeah, so some key stats there for you. We're also a member of the UK's Russell Group, which is sort of a group of leading research-intensive universities. Moving on from there, some of the other key things you might want to consider with Exeter, and I've put in sort of visual tiles here to try and make it easier to digest. One of the key things I think is on the bottom here on the left, that we've got over 400 programs to choose from in more than 40 different subject areas. And for obvious reasons, I didn't include all of them on this slide, but I'd encourage you to go onto our webpage and check to see which programs might be of interest to you. Like similar to Tom at Lancaster, you know, the campuses themselves are very green and it's a nice environment to study in. Students really like that about the campus. It's an award-winning, sort of green flag award-winning setup in terms of our campus location and the grounds that we're on. So yeah, you've had a chance to read some of those. I probably have gone over time, but yeah, stay in touch with us. Fill out a form if you want to hear more from us. And I'll be happy to hear from any of you. But with that, I'll finish and pass on to my colleagues from another university.
Thank you very much, Taylor. So I'm Stephen from University of Warwick. Same thing will happen again. Well, I'll share some slides with you just for about 5 minutes. Can you see my slides okay? Brilliant, lovely. So there is a case of spot the difference with some of us. We're the same sort of size, we're campus universities. Many of us are what we call Shakespearean universities, so Warwick, Leicester, York, you know, some of us are of an ilk, and Warwick is just one of these UK universities that nevertheless has a few key characteristics. So what I'm going to do in this presentation hopefully is to give you some of those key characteristics. If you asked me 4 things that were specific to Warwick, these were the ones that I would probably lead off with. Again, these are not unique to Warwick, but they are defining characteristics. So for a start, the fact that we have very flexible degree options. The UK as a whole gives you 50,000 different course permutations. And many of them, not all of those, but many of them are available at our different universities today, including lots of flexible joint degrees, multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary degrees, and innovative industry-focused single honours. We're another research-focused Russell Group university with a large proportion of research happening in our 24 universities. About 3/4 of the UK's research happens in the Russell Group. We're career-focused, along with Leicester you've heard from already, along with Exeter and some that will come like York later on. We're quite a young university and being established in the mid-20th century. And we've grown up with business on our campus. And we're also hugely international. So many of us, I've seen in Taylor's slide just then, will have around about 150 nationalities on campus. It's similar for Warwick. And these are just a few different images of our sports facilities, our student accommodation and campus life. I won't bore you with lots of statistics. I'm just going to show these to you to give you a flavour of who Warwick is. Just to say that in every single league table in the UK, no matter how we're measured, we're top 10. We've risen in all of these tables this year, and we're up to number 6 in the UK in the Guardian. That came out last week. We've just been named the Times Teaching Quality University of the Year and runner-up for University of the Year overall. And then internationally, we're top 20 in Europe, firmly top 100 in the world. And we're one of the world's top 20 most international universities. So it's not just about the students you're surrounded by, it's the research that we're doing and the way that we connect up with research of global impact and global significance. It's the faculty you're being taught by. So in subjects like international law, you'll have many different nationalities, typically 15 different nationalities teaching you international law. And we've got lots of student societies where you get to connect up, not just with Hispanic culture and Latin American culture, potentially, if you want to have that Spanish speaking set of connections, but also a much wider set across the whole world. I just tend to use this slide as a way of introducing our student-led activity, because I never fail to be impressed by what our students themselves achieve in attracting some really high-profile, internationally renowned speakers to take part in their events. So the President of the EU, Ursula von der Leyen, was involved this year. We've had multiple Nobel Prize winners, the CEO of the Financial Times, heads of state, or ex-heads of state generally, but people who have led their country will take part in the student-led activity, which tends to run in January or February each year. And we hope you will again be able to take part on a selected basis. You have to apply for tickets to this, but if you're successful, you can join into this event. These are our different degree routes, and this isn't everything. This is just the subject headings. Within any one of these, you might find a whole set of separate degree options, both single honours and joint options as well there. Some of them are specialist, like cybersecurity, and those specialist options will tend to be slightly less flexible, but give you a direction to a career, and they tend to be accredited. The vast majority of our degrees, as I've said already, will be very flexible and give you lots of module choice to allow you to pursue your interests as they develop. Briefly to show you our entry requirements, very typically for IB, for A-level and Bachelorado. You can see a spread here, and some of them have just changed in the last week or so. So things like international management, accounting and finance, economics and computer science, we're now asking a little bit more from. So they are A-star, AA equivalent. But typically in that sort of AAA, A-star AA range is typical. Again, just going to show you campus briefly. And again, to link on to Taylor's question about how far are we from London, which we are also asked quite often. We're 60 minutes away on the train. We have England's second largest city on the other side of us, 20 minutes away, Birmingham. But we also have a campus that is entirely student and academically focused, together with all those social facilities and sports facilities for you to join on. I'm going to keep it there, keep it brief. If you do want to talk to us, please do. You've got my email and Donna's email for the Europe team. We've got open days on the 9th and the 23rd of this month, and we look very much forward to speaking to you.
Thank you. So I think it's me next, so I'll just start sharing my screen. Okay, so hopefully you can all see my screen in front of you now. So my name is Vicky and I'm from the University of York. So it's nice to meet you all today and to talk to you virtually. So I'm going to give you just a whistle-stop tour about York as a university and a bit about the city as well. So who are we? So the University of York is a relatively young university in terms of in the UK. We were founded in 1963. But in that time, we've done quite a number of amazing things. So that includes becoming a member of the Russell Group, which is a prestigious group of universities here in the UK. And this year, we've also been shortlisted for University of the Year as well. So we're also a medium-sized university, like many of the others here today, and we have a student body of around 20,000 students. So we are a diverse student body. We have students from over 150 countries globally. and international students represent about 25% of our student population. So coming to study at York, it would be a great chance to meet lots of new people from all over the world as well. So in terms of location, because as everyone else has said, it's often a question that we do get asked in terms of where we are. So we are located quite centrally in terms of in the UK, but we're in the north of England. So we have 2 campuses and they're very close to the city centre of York. We are basically just on the edge of the city. So due to our location, we do have really good road and really good rail links to other parts of the UK. So you can get on a really fast train to London in just under 2 hours. And we're also very accessible to lots of other cities as well. So you can explore lots of other cities while you're studying with us. And we also have the great countryside and coastline around us, which is easy to get to too. So in terms of the city, it's a contemporary student-friendly city. It's renowned for its rich kind of history and heritage. And it's kind of a medium-sized city. It's not a large bustling city like London. We have a population of around 200,000 people. So it's small enough for students to cycle and walk around, but there's still lots of interesting things for students to do as well. So the city really is a mixture of history and modern culture, and it really does make for a beautiful and exciting student city with lots to explore. And just on the screen as well, you'll see that we're also one of the safest city-based universities in England and Wales, and we're also consistently voted as one of the best places to live in the UK as well. So in terms of our campuses, we have 2 main campuses located close to the city centre of York. So we're actually located a very short distance from the city. So students can walk into the city, or they can cycle, or they can get a bus, which will take just about 15 minutes. So we are also a green parkland campus, so as you can see on the pictures on the screen. And our campuses are home to all our department buildings, our teaching space, accommodation, study spaces, social spaces, and much, much more. So we're set in about 200 acres of parkland. So this includes the lakes that you see on the screen. We've also got wetlands, and we've also got some really nice landscape gardens as well. So it is a really nice place for students to focus on their learning. And it's also a really popular place for wildlife. So when you come and study at York, you'll always be talking about the ducks and the geese and all the various other birds that are on campus as well. So we have Campus West and we have Campus East, and they're both shown on the screen. And we have regular connections between the 2 campuses, or students can walk in a couple of minutes. And it's also a short distance to the city, as I've said as well. So just in terms of our course offerings, so we do have a huge range of courses to choose from, both at undergraduate and postgraduate level. And these sit within our 3 main faculties. So that's arts and humanities, we have sciences, and we also have our social sciences as well. There's also the opportunity to tailor your degree to your own specific interests, and we also have excellent academic support as well. So because we're a member of the Russell Group and our emphasis is kind of on research, you'll experience firsthand what research-led teaching means. And this basically is because many of our academics are kind of at the forefront of their field, and they're conducting research into their particular areas of interest. And this often feeds into the way that you're taught and into the curriculum as well. And I've just got a couple of rankings on the screen as well there for you. I'm not going to go through them in too much detail, but you can have a look at those for yourselves. And then just to kind of finish up, so we're also a collegiate university, so similar to what Lancaster were saying earlier. So this is part of the accommodation. So you would become a member of a college, and this is your chance to be part of a smaller community within the larger university community. So we offer lots of college-led or college-run events, and there's also lots of support within the colleges as well. So currently we have 9 colleges, but we are expanding our college offering, so we'll soon have 11. So in terms of international students, we do guarantee accommodation for our international students, and this is normally if you apply by a certain deadline date. We also have a variety of accommodation on offer to suit a variety of people and to suit a variety of budgets. So this includes catered accommodation, self-catered, ensuite, and the list kind of goes on as well. So obviously coming to university as well, you'll also want to experience things outside of your course. So we also have lots of student societies, lots of clubs, and lots of sports which you can get involved with as well. So obviously when you come to university, we want you to kind of engage in all university activities. So the student societies, the clubs are a great way to kind of enhance your hobbies, but also to meet new people as well. So that brings me to the end of the brief kind of whistle-stop tour of York. But if you have any further questions, then please do reach out to us. So our contact details are here on the screen. And we also do have a dedicated Spanish country page as well, which has information about our entry requirements and any events that we might be attending. So thank you very much, and I'll hand over to whoever is next.
Thank you, Vicky. I think it's me from Bath, Sue from Bath. So just bear with me while I share my screen with you as well, and hopefully get to share the presentation as well. I can actually get to the play button. Lovely to hear about York again. My daughter went to York, so it's great to be here with such a wonderful group of UK universities. So you can't go wrong with any of them, but I'm here to talk about the University of Bath that you're seeing in this picture here. And we have a campus university. Lots of us here today are from campus universities. And what that means is everything is on one site. Our campus is at the edge of a world-renowned city of Bath, a UNESCO World Heritage Centre. And our campus itself is much younger than the city. It's about 50 years old, just over 50 years old. The university started as an engineering school, and it has expanded to take on lots of different new areas and inhabit this beautiful campus where all our teaching goes on that one campus, with our sports training village that you can see there, our halls of residence, and lots of green space. So it's a truly pleasant place to spend time and study and get to know the local area. And if you don't know where Bath is, you may have seen Bath on the TV, on perhaps a Jane Austen dramatisation, or maybe Bridgerton, if you watch that, because a lot of it was filmed in the city of Bath. It really is a beautiful city, and we're a very safe, welcoming city, recognised as the second safest UK university city. So we're very proud of that. We're a community that welcomes students and tourists from all over the globe. And as well as a beautiful city and our campus, we have great access to the countryside in the southwest. So we are on the way from London down to Exeter, not as far as Exeter, but we are 1 hour and 20 minutes on the train from the capital city, making it very, very accessible for you as well. So what that means is, if you're coming from Madrid, for instance, you can normally fly every day of the week to the local airport at Bristol, but we are also only 2 hours from Heathrow Airport. That UNESCO World Heritage status is because of the beauty of the city itself in terms of architecture, and we've also just won another status as a World Heritage Spa town, because we have a Roman bath spa in the centre of the city as well. So it's a great place to come and visit as a tourist, but also attract students to study at 2 universities in the city, making the whole city a great place to be a student, has a really good student vibe, as well as all of the kind of facilities that you would want in a very cultured city with many festivals going on and activities for every interest. So what about our university in terms of rankings in the UK? Well, we're not actually in the Russell Group, but we are ranked top 10 in 3 major rankings in the UK, all of the main rankings across UK university newspaper rankings. We're in the top 10, and we also have quite a number of our courses sit in the top 3 slots. So things like psychology, computer science, mechanical engineering, architecture, all sit very highly ranked in the UK on a regular basis. In fact, most of our courses are ranked in the top 20 of courses across the UK. We also have a large international community. About 30% of our students come from outside of the UK, all nationalities represented, or at least 130 plus when we last counted. But it's nice to know that you will be in good company with other students from Spain. I have worked in Spain for a few years now, and I'm really proud to say Spanish students represent the 5th largest national group from outside the UK. So you'll certainly find other students on our campus. We've also got great Spanish culture, restaurants and activities going on in the city to make you feel at home if you feel you need that. One more specific thing that I really must tell you about for the University of Bath, not entirely unique to the university, but certainly something that we provide exceptionally well, is the opportunity to do a work placement as part of your degree. And what that means is that in the third year of your degree, for most of our courses, you will spend a whole year in a work placement, undertaking a professional job role that we've set up for you with our placement support staff, working with you in your first and second year to really find you a job role that you will enjoy during your third year. Some of the courses you actually take compulsory placements, all of our management courses, bar one, for instance, and some of them you will do 2 6-month placements in your second and third year. But they really are so well supported and have such great outcomes in terms of your career opportunities afterwards that almost 70% of our students now opt to take those. And we have around 3,000 companies that we work with across the globe. One of the great things post-Brexit for you, if you are worrying about some of the impacts, are now you will probably have a greater choice of placement work opportunities in the EU, because it's actually a little bit harder for our UK students to access them now we're no longer part of the EU. But any placement that you're interested in could be in the EU, it could be in the UK, or it could be in the USA or Australia. We've had students literally go across the globe to engage in those work opportunities. So I'd really recommend you look at that whenever you're looking at our courses. One other thing you may know us for are our sports facilities, and I'm showing this picture of the pool largely because we've just won a whole load of medals in Tokyo, or I say we, I definitely haven't, I'm not that strong a swimmer, and the pool is very, very cold. It's an Olympic pool that we have on our sports training village, but I know that we have Olympians training with us, and we have all of these facilities just there for you to use as a student. Even if you're just a regular student who is interested in trying a new sport, you can access those all for free. And really get involved with activities that perhaps you haven't tried before. And also we have an arts centre. We don't offer arts for our students in terms of degree subjects, but we have a great arts centre as well. So if you're not interested in sports, no worries, you can do that. And there are some art scholarships as well as 2 theatres on campus to get involved with those performing arts, music, dance and studio practice is also available. I should say for sports people who are very high level in their sports, we have a dual career programme which allows you to continue with your professional career in sport alongside your degree, whatever that degree is you choose, and we can manage your time for your timetable and your teaching alongside the sports career that you're also working towards as well, so it doesn't have to negatively impact that. And of course it's all on the one campus, so it makes it nice and easy to access. So here's a little overview of the kind of subjects that you can find at Bath. We don't have a medical school, we don't have English or arts, as I've mentioned. These are our areas of academic disciplines, so a School of Management and 3 faculties, starting originally, as I said, as an engineering school, so very well known for things like architecture and mechanical engineering. Many of our mechanical engineers on their work placement end up going to Formula One or to Rolls-Royce, so you really can have fantastic applied and practical learning and many, many degrees across every subject that we offer here. So I'll give you some links to go back to the subjects in more detail, obviously after today, along with my contact details. And I'd love to hear your questions more specifically. If you want to get in touch with me after today, you can also scan that QR code, just as you heard earlier from Exeter, to get some more information specifically on a regular basis from the university. And I'll stop there and pass over to my colleagues and hopefully answer some questions later. Thanks for listening.
I think next it might be me. Is that right? Great. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. I'm now like sitting on my slides, but I think this works. Okay, so sorry about that, everyone, and thank you very much for your patience. So my name is Sarah and I'm the Student Recruitment Manager at University of the Arts London. So like everyone else, I'll give you a brief whistle-stop tour of the university. So I think unlike a lot of the other universities you've heard from tonight, we're a more specialist university, so we do just offer a range of courses in the creative arts and design, as well as things like media and communication as well. So we're actually second in the world for art and design for the 3rd year running, which is something that we're really proud of, and we're also one of the biggest art schools in Europe. We're of course based in London, which is really a fantastic city to study in, to live in, to spend time in. It's particularly great for sort of creative students and anyone who wants to sort of really kind of experience all sorts of different aspects of student life. I mean, it's a world creative capital, huge amounts of culture and heritage. It's also very diverse, very different communities and areas all sort of come together. We're very much an international university as well. Between 40 and 45% of our student body comes from outside the UK. That very much is reflected in kind of London as a city itself. It's you know, you walk down the street in London and you probably hear sort of 5 different languages being spoken, which is a really, really sort of great community to be a part of and to sort of gain kind of inspiration from. And it's also very good for kind of creating your own network and sort of meeting other people. There are meeting other students both within the university and other universities within London. So really, really great place to live and study. But it's definitely something, I should say, having listened to everyone's presentations, that's something you want to think about. Do you want to study somewhere that's kind of a smaller campus within a smaller city, or is it sort of a large city experience that you're looking for? Because that really will kind of define a lot about your kind of student experience that is very different. Now, UAL, University of the Arts London, is made up of 6 colleges, which are based in different parts of London. And so in a way, we do kind of provide a bit more of that campus-like experience within the wider city and the wider university. And when you apply to us, you would apply to one college out of the 6 rather than kind of an open application, because they are slightly different from each other. So we've got 3 colleges which are quite general, so you could do a huge range of different subjects within art and design. So Camberwell, Central St Martin's and Chelsea are all, you know, you could do anything from sort of fine art, graphic design, interior design, architecture, you know, they sort of encompass a range of different subjects. And then we've got 3 colleges which are a little bit more specialist and which are also partly hidden by my head. So London College of Communication is where you might go to study screen, film, animation, sound arts, and also things like media, communications, journalism, user experience design. So anything to do with communication. London College of Fashion is, of course, anything to do with fashion design, but also fashion business. Our fashion business school is really well known around the world and very sort of well connected as well with the industry within London and beyond. And Wimbledon College of Arts is our performance school. So there we've got courses in acting, theatre design, costume design, theatre arts. And also at the bottom here, I'm not sure if you can see it, but we've got our new Creative Computing Institute, which is based at Camberwell, but it's a sort of separate institute where you can study creative computing, which is basically bringing sort of coding, app design, machine learning and things like that, sort of to the creative industries. So there's some really exciting new things that are going on there. And I should also mention that if you're on an undergraduate course with us, it's possible to do a year or a semester out in creative computing as part of your course, as well as just doing a whole BA degree in creative computing. So I'll this is actually a very inadequate map, but just to sort of give you an idea of where we are within the city. If this is central London, we've got Central St Martin's. London College of Fashion is currently based at 6 different buildings across the centre, but we are hopefully moving to the Olympic Park within the next couple of years in a brand new building with lots of facilities. London College of Communication is just south of the river. and Camberwell, and then Wimbledon a little bit further out, down in sort of leafy green Wimbledon. So each of the colleges is slightly different in terms of what it offers and the size and the number of students and also the location. So that's something to look at if you're interested in coming to UAL. I mentioned that we're, as a creative arts university, we're quite specialist in terms of what we offer. So the courses we offer at undergraduate level do tend to be very, very specialist already. So you would come to us to study kind of, you know, fine art, or you would study fashion design, women's wear, or you would study theatre design. It's less of a common thing to do a mixture. So the courses but we do offer a huge number of courses. Within art, we've got fine art, photography, drawing, painting, sculpture, digital arts. Within communication, things like graphic design, branding and identity, illustration, photojournalism, media communications, design for art direction, and many more. Different kinds of design, so architecture, interior, branded spaces, product design, textile design. Within fashion, obviously different types of fashion design, but also fashion communication, marketing management, styling, production, hair and makeup, fashion psychology, and we do even have a course in cosmetic science, so if you want to go really niche. Within media, we have some more sort of written-based courses, so things like journalism, advertising, public relations, publishing, user experience design, etc. And performing arts, as I mentioned before, we've got theatre, costume, technical arts, performance design, and acting and performance. And finally, in the Screen School, we have a really popular course in film practice, and film and television, animation, games design, sound arts, virtual reality, etc. So that's the kind of area that UAL covers. So obviously, if you're looking for courses in medicine or the sciences, that's not really what we offer, but for anything to do with the creative arts or communication, we probably have a course for you. Now, the one other thing that we offer, that we really sort of encourage students interested in the creative arts to look at, is our pre-degree courses, which you may have heard of as the Art Foundation. And now, traditionally in the UK, it's really normal for students who are coming straight from school to study what we call a foundation year, before going into a BA in art or design subject. And there are a couple of reasons for that. Part of it is, as I mentioned before, the BA courses do tend to be very specialist. So the foundation year does allow you to sort of develop, to sort of try out a few different things and decide which of those kind of broad areas might be the one for you, and just experiment and explore different subjects. So, and just make sure that you're following the right path. And as I mentioned before, we do also have hundreds of undergraduate courses. And I just wanted to mention here that whilst each of them does typically last 3 years, we do also have the option for a 4th year in industry. Some courses tend to do this more than others. I know that a lot of the courses at London College of Communication and within the Fashion Business School are really, really well integrated into the industries that are relevant to them within London and beyond. And so students are really sort of encouraged, if that's something that you want to do, to take that opportunity to spend time working within on a placement year or an internship over the summer and have that as part of your degree. I'll just talk a little bit about student life. I don't want to take up too much time, but just to say there's free or cheap access for students to galleries and museums. Is really sort of a vibrant place to be. We've got a student union, sports clubs, societies, exhibitions and shows, opportunities to work and volunteer, anything you can think of. It's probably somewhere nearby in London, and somebody at the university will be able to point you in that direction. We do also have accommodation based either on campus or more often just sort of nearby or easily accessible to the different colleges. And those are prioritised for international students so long as you apply on time. But we've got a student advice service to help you settle in and with any issues that you might have, because obviously moving abroad for university is quite a big step. And finally, just to say that we also have a really strong and exciting list of graduates. I think some people, when thinking about whether or not to study a creative subject, kind of think, well, you know, is it going to be difficult to get a job, or is there a clear path for me, or, you know, is this going to be a bit of a dead end? And I think obviously it's very different to studying something like medicine or engineering, where there is a very clear path. But I just want to reassure you that if this is something that you're passionate about, there are huge numbers of opportunities. And most of our graduates, you know, there are some who are incredibly famous. Over half of all Turner Prize winners have been UAL graduates. But equally, we're just as proud of the number of graduates who meet people and build their own networks and start their own companies and do really exciting things on the basis of projects that they've done and people they've met while at university. So if it's something you're interested in doing, then I'd say it's really worth going with. If you'd like to get in touch or learn any more, we do have a series of webinars coming up, things like how to put together a portfolio for applying to creative courses, and meeting some of our students, and sort of everything else as well. And you can get in touch with us via the international pages. But now, thank you very much for listening, and I'm going to hand back to Sophia.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you also to all the panelists. It has been really nice seeing the difference and the things in common also about all the universities. One second, I think, Sarah, I can help you.
I'm trying, that's it, thank you.
And Sandra, let us know if we have any questions.
Yes, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us today. Yes, we have some questions here in the Q&A. So let's start with the first one, because we have around 8 minutes to answer questions. I think we can make it. So Daniel would like to know if the classes are going to be in person 100% this year, or if you are maintaining some kind of restriction, hybrid system limitation. So why don't we start with maybe Tom? You were the first person talking.
Yeah, very good question. The answer will depend on, I imagine, on which institution you're talking to. From a Lancaster standpoint, we're encouraging all students to come and study the courses in person with us. For students where that won't be an option, so if there's difficulties traveling, or if the student requires to isolate or anything similar to that, for courses where that's possible, we've tried to make it available to begin the course online for a certain period of time, after which we then expect the student to come and join us on the campus in person. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
I don't know if some of you have any other answer. I don't think so. No? Pretty much the same. Okay. Then we have Julian. Julian, just a couple of questions. After Brexit, university fees for international students have literally soared. I guess he's talking about Europeans in particular. Are English universities going to help international students, especially EU students who are willing to join them with grants, loans, lower fees, etc.? Why don't you go for that one, Taylor?
Yeah, thank you for the question. That's a really important question. And you know, all universities, my colleagues on the call, will understand the impacts that the fee changes will have on you. And again, like Tom said, this answer might vary depending on which institution you're speaking to. But for an Exeter position, we help all of our students who are classified as international for fee status with by making them eligible for a number and a range of different scholarships. Our position is that none of the scholarships that are available for international students are specific for EU students. EU students are welcome who are international for fee status. If you're international for fee status, you're welcome to apply to the international scholarships that are available. Many of our scholarships are merit-based, partial scholarships, typically for 1 year in duration. And so that's worth bearing in mind. But our flagship program would be the Global Excellence Scholarship. This is a merit-based scholarship for the first year, either 5,000, 10,000 or full tuition fee waiver for the first year, depending on grades and a short application process. And I'm sure that many of my colleagues from other institutions will have a very similar offering. I don't know if anyone would like to add to what I've said.
Yeah, I can say something. I mean, I think definitely to echo your point, Taylor, that we're all sort of very much aware of the impact and trying to sort of do what we can. I mean, this year at UAL, we had a scheme where every student who was from the EU who was international for fees automatically got a £10,000 discount for every year of study at undergraduate level. And of course, that's something that, you know, we're in discussion as to whether that's going to be something that will be back again next year, or if, you know, it will slowly just kind of be phased into being equivalent to international fees. But I think we've seen a lot of universities across the country this year trying to help students transition and to sort of match fees and things. And I think as things settle, scholarships and bursaries will appear. I think it's just, you know, the reality is that things are more expensive now, but universities will do what they can to help.
Thank you. Okay, we have another question here. It is about tuition fees. It would be nice to hear more about tuition fees. So maybe Stephen, because that depends, no? But
yeah, I think this links quite well to the last question about scholarships. And, you know, most of what we're doing with the scholarships is to offset the tuition fee quite often. They do vary significantly between university, and I think each of us is coming from a local perspective, so we haven't necessarily got the bird's eye view on quite why that is. But it will tend to be linked to things like rankings. You know, high-ranked institutions will tend to have slightly higher fees. There's a cost to benefit ratio. What are you going to do in terms of your future career? What are the average earnings? So you might pay more upfront with your tuition fee, but you may longer term potentially earn more. It's not to say you definitely will, but there is a potentiality that you could. Just to add to the scholarships point, which are designed to enable more students from Europe and to keep joining our universities. You've heard from all of us how international we are. Many of them won't be live yet. So I can say for Warwick that we will definitely have a scholarship for you for 2022. But if you look on the page, it still says 2021. So do watch this space for all of our universities if you haven't got details just yet.
thank you, Stephen.
Yep.
I think you partly answered the following question, this is from Eric. Why are the international fees so varied between universities for the same course? For example, Lancaster, York, Plymouth, you all have different fees depending on the course. I don't know if you want to add something more to this. No, right? Yeah. So we have another question. Which of these universities have grants? How much? What are the conditions? So again, I think we have already answered that. So, and if we haven't, please ask again. Is the academic year number of weeks the same for all universities? Well, kind of, no? More or less, it's 9 months, right? It depends. You have to check the exact dates, start dates, and okay. So I'm gonna answer that. And for the first question about the scholarships, there is a second part from Julian. Are you offering any specific sport scholarships in your universities? Why don't you answer that, Sue? Maybe from Bath.
Oh yes, I can see that I'm being blinded by sun here, which we do get in the UK. So it's just to prove that there is sun in the UK. It's coming straight at me, so apologies. In terms of sports scholarships, we are a university well known for sports, and we do therefore have access to donors who make sports scholarships available to some of our students. They are paid for generally by a private donor who is interested in the sports area. It might be Santander Bank, for instance, who have a particular sports scholarship. And then those are set, the criteria for them are set by us and our donors. So you will see scholarships change each year. And I know it's quite frustrating, as you've heard from Stephen, that we may not have our up-to-date information yet for 2022 entry scholarships. You do need to keep checking back and asking, because the situation with scholarships of all kinds does change quite rapidly in response to lots of things about wanting to improve, take up on a course, to getting a new donor and a new outside scholarship set up. So keep an eye on those. At Bath, yes, we have 1 or 2 for sports scholarships, but they tend to be to help with your sport alongside your degree. So they're not going to cover your full tuition fees, for instance, but they may help you with your sporting career alongside your tuition fees. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a sense of what you're looking out for. And the advice from all of us really is to keep an eye on the information that we're posting about scholarships as it comes in.
Thank you, Sue. The next question is by the way, it's 7 now, but we have some questions. So if for the panelists, if you need to go, maybe just please go, and thank you for your time. But we will continue answering questions because I see there is interest here. So the following question is from Eric again, but I think these are pretty specific questions because he's asking about, do the rooms in residence have a safe for lockbox? And at the end of the academic year and before the next year begins, what do international students do with their belongings like bedding, kitchenware, etc.? So maybe Vicky, do you want to answer that?
Yeah,
or I can answer otherwise.
Yeah, so a lot of residences and accommodation, you'll be assigned to your own individual room. So you'll either have a lock and a key, or you'll have key card access. So it is very secure, it is very safe, and it's your personal space. For many buildings as well across the university, it could be department buildings, but also residences or accommodation. There's also sometimes key card access as well, which is only granted to staff and students who need that particular access. So again, it is very safe and secure. In terms of belongings, I think some universities do have procedures put in place for international students to store their belongings if they are going home, or if there's a slight transition between their let periods, if they're going into private accommodation or if they're staying on campus. But again, that's something you can probably find out a bit more when you arrive. I know at the University of York, if you don't want to bring everything with you, we do offer packages in terms of you can buy your bedding, you can buy all the bits that you need as a package, and it'll be ready in your room for when you arrive. So that's just some of the things which we kind of offer, but anyone else feel free to add from your input as well.
Okay, we have a question specifically for Bath University. This one is for you, Sue, from Lydia. In order to study management or business, what are the A-level requirements? Thank you.
Okay, so for management and business courses, most of them we are looking for 3 A's, and we will not necessarily need maths within your A levels, or if you're taking other qualifications, you won't necessarily need a higher level of maths. We have one particular course in our management school, which is accounting and finance, where maths is required, but for business or management with marketing, or international management, normally we are looking for 3 A's. And we do make alternate offers for students who are taking an EPQ. So what that means is that if you are taking an EPQ, we will make you an alternate offer that if it's 3 A's, normally it would be 2 A's and a B plus an A in your extended project qualification. So if that applies to you, then you've got the chance of getting an alternate offer as well. So hopefully that answers questions. I'm just going to double check I haven't got those grades wrong, because I haven't looked at it again for 2022 today. So I don't think it has changed, but I will certainly double check that for you. Certainly the alternate offer definitely still applies, but I'll pull up the full entry requirements for one of our management courses and post that in the chat for you, so you can get a sense of what we're looking for. So 3 A's or A star AB actually. So there's already an alternate offer and then a double alternate offer in the sense that we are looking for AAB plus an A in the EPQ. So hope that helps.
Thank you, Sue. I am checking the chat and it's a mess here. We have a lot of questions. So I'm going to see if, I don't think that this was answered. Angelis is asking about what about work permission in the UK after finishing college? So maybe, Sarah, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, sure. As of I think last year, we've got post-study work visas are available once you graduate, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I think gives 2 or 3 years to work in the UK afterwards. And then of course, you can extend that if you have a job which can sponsor you, or if you marry someone, or if your circumstances change in different ways. So there is a possibility for you to work in the UK, at least for a limited time after finishing your studies.
Thank you, Sarah. We have a question here. Hello, I'm looking for a business analytics course, and I've only seen that a specific undergraduate course in Lancaster University. Do the rest of universities have that course maybe with another name, perhaps something similar, or is that not an option? Thank you all. So anyone has something similar?
Just answer from our perspective, yeah, that's a really good shout, that often courses will have slightly different names, slightly different titles, or even between different institutions, a similar titled course might have different content. So yeah, it just really is important to do your research. And I think, did you say a business management course? If you have a detailed read about the course content on our website, you'll be able to see a list of modules and the kind of topics that you'll cover. That'll give you an impression of what our course covers. And then feel free for the other people to answer, but I imagine you'll have to have a look through their similar business courses and try to see if there's courses on there that match the modules and the content, or maybe even have the academics present in the kind of area that you want to focus on. But that's a really good point. Yeah, courses will differ there will be similarities and there will be differences. So yeah, detailed research is very important, or talking to us.
Was the question about business analytics in particular? Yeah. So just to highlight that, yeah. So we also offer that at Exeter. So if anyone was interested in that course, that's offered at undergraduate level. But Tom makes a really good point about course names and course content. So yeah, research is key.
Yeah, that's important. Thank you, Taylor. So you all have shared your email addresses, I think, in the chat. Great. Very quick. Blah blah blah.
Sandra,
Okay.
I think there's one more question in the Q&A which I can answer.
Okay, go for it.
In the universities, do you need to do an interview or take an exam? And I think it's sort of important to say that it really depends first on the university and then on the course. I mean, if you're going to study medicine, then you will usually need to take the relevant exams. Some universities for maths require an exam, and then also some universities won't interview at all, and others will ask for maybe pieces of additional work, such as an essay, or certainly for an arts course it would be a portfolio, or for a film course it would be a sort of film reel. So I would just say make sure that you check the requirements for every course that you're applying to, because it may not even be the same between similar courses at different universities.
Correct. Thank you, Sarah. Okay. So as far as I know,
well, thank you very much. If you have any other question, you already have everybody's emails. Thank you to the panelists, and thank you to the students and parents that have watched today. And we will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.